Happy Wednesday, T Squad. Join me today as we dive into the crazy world of celebrities and try to uncover the truth and meaning behind Kanye West's shocking cousin relationship confession. Won't you fill me up till my cup's overflowing? I'm so anxious just to feel the T-Squad, we all know that Kanye West has always been known for speaking his mind and pushing boundaries, but his latest confession has left many of us speechless. The rapper and fashion designer recently revealed that he's been in a relationship with his cousin, sending shockwaves throughout the music industry and beyond. 2 days ago, Hollywood Unlocked reported the tweet that was literally read and heard about around the world. So Kanye, has been on one of his Twitter sprees. We have at least one or two of these per year. It's obvious that he's in a very manic state when these things happen, but he recently released a new song called Cousins, and he tweeted about it, and he said, "This song is called Cousins, about my cousin that's locked in jail for life for unaliving a pregnant lady a few years after I told him we wouldn't look at dirty magazines together anymore. Perhaps in my self-centered mess, I felt it was my fault that I showed him those dirty magazines when he was 6, and then we acted out what we saw. My dad had Playboy magazines, but the magazines I found in the top of my mom's closet were different. My name is Jay, and I sucked my cousin's Peter Weeder till I was 14. Yeah. Wow. I don't think this is one of his tweets just to shock the world or to be controversial. I think that this is actually a deep-seated secret that he has held on to that has obviously affected his life in so many ways. He's already admitted in the past that he has a corn addiction. He watches it all the time. We saw the footage of him a few years ago showing execs at Adidas a corn tape during a meeting. He's used corn in his sexual relationships, and it's something that he, like I said, has admitted to being addicted to. And it seems like he was introduced to that world at a very young age, and it has since shaped his outlook on women, on relationships, on schmecks, and more. And this isn't an uncommon thing that we hear about family members messing around with other family members willingly. We just heard about it with Saucy Santana. He admitted that he had a sexual relationship with his cousin for years, up until his late teens, and he didn't think that anything was wrong with it. Of course he does now, and this seems like the case with Kanye. Now, he didn't state how old he was when he introduced these dirty magazines and whatever he found in his mother's possession at the time. He said that his cousin was 6, so I don't know how old he was, but it seems like he was older than his cousin. So depending on how old he was, it comes across like he groomed his cousin. He could have very well been 7 or 8 and not knowing any better, but this is deep trauma. And since his mother has passed, it's been said that boy ain't been right since his mama passed away. But obviously he has had issues far longer than we could have ever imagined. I think not having his father around has affected him. He's had a very on and off again a relationship with his father. And I think that his mother kept him I don't want to say sane, but kept him in check. She was his anchor. And I think once his anchor was taken away from him being an only child, his mother being gone unexpectedly, him not having a real close relationship with his father, having all of this money, fame, power, and I think all of that childhood trauma began to pour out, and he had nothing to anchor him to reel it back in like he had in the past. We saw in the documentary that was released a few years ago on Netflix, he was always able to go to his mother and have these encouraging, supportive conversations. And when she passed away, obviously, he no longer had that. You know, it's sad. It's very traumatizing, obviously. This isn't for public fodder, but he made it. But I also think that this is a cry for help. This is his manic side revealing things that I don't think when he's on medication he would have ever admitted to. It's really unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. And to know that this went on until he was 14, and it seems like he blames himself for the decisions that his cousin made, because he was the one that introduced him into this hyper schmexual world, to the point where his cousin unalived a pregnant woman, you know. And like I said, it seems like he blames himself for his cousin being in prison for the rest of his life, because it's obvious that he thinks if I would have never introduced him to this, then this wouldn't have happened. But who's to say? Who's to say? And I also think that him throughout the years really going rampant and wild with these schmexual escapades, the women that he has dated. If you've noticed, when we first were introduced to Kanye, he was dating women of substance, black women, women that had things going on from themselves, just, you know, really beautiful, around the way, professional, classy women. And then when his mother went on, he started dating the Amber Roses, the Kim Kardashians, the Biancas, all of these women with this very schmexual tone to themselves. And I think that was this corn addiction that he has, him trying to emulate that in his real life. And I think him being very schmexual and always needing that part, because he's talked openly about his love for schmex and, you know, all of that. I think that that was also not just because of his addiction to corn, but him trying to suppress maybe his homosexual past or his homosexual desires. Because it could very well be a situation where he is so schmexual because he's trying to mask that maybe he is either homosexual or bisexual. And a lot of men tend to do that by sleeping with a lot of women to prove their masculinity to themselves, to their friends, their peers, their family members. Once again, it has been very frowned upon in the hip hop community to be gay. And what better way to prove that you're not by constantly bagging different women and betting different women? I think it's so many levels to this. I'm not a therapist or a psychiatrist, so I'm just speaking on things that I've seen and heard and read about throughout my years on this earth. But this is very just sad, and I feel sorry for him, because he needs help, and I don't know if he'll ever really get it. And I feel sorry for his children, because they're going to school, and I'm pretty sure, you know, they're hearing about this from their peers, maybe being taunted and teased by it. You know, that's a lot to deal with. They're already celebrity kids, and now for your father to be in this state and admitting something so horrific has to just be polarizing for like North and Saint, who are old enough to understand what's going on. But T Squad, what do you guys think about all of this? I can't wait to read your thoughts and opinions. Let's talk about it in the comment section. Please make sure to thumbs up this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on your post notifications so you know my videos drop. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.